Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I am Dana K. White. I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out ways to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people, people who don't love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number, let me try to get this number right, because y'all know I've been getting confused lately on the podcast numbers. Sorry about that. I am on, this is podcast number 411, I think. And I'm going to call it When All the Mini Projects Take Over the House. Okay, so I am having a conversation with Lois. She is delightful, like just delightful. I love all these conversations, but I had so much fun in this conversation because she's a woman of many interests and gifts and talents. And I just think you're going to relate so much because these are the common threads of so many of us who struggle with clutter. We're into a lot of things. And anyway, you're just going to love her. So be sure to listen to the end, because at the end, I'm going to read you the email that Lois sent me the day after we recorded. She said, I want to thank you for the session yesterday. You got me thinking outside the box. And I'm going to tell you what it was she did and how it worked out that was because of this conversation. So you're going to hear us talk about something and then we'll get to hear the results of it, right? Which is cool. Anyway, don't forget, if you want to sign up to do one of these strategy sessions, I take these from my Patreon group. So go check out Patreon. It's a great place to be, whether you do a session or not. It's a fun group. And you can find out more at patreon.com/aslobcomesclean. Okay. Here's my conversation with Lois.
Lois, how are you? Thanks for doing this.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
I'm excited to have you here. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your unique life situation?
Well, I'm a mom and a grandma and a history professor, and I have a lot of volunteer commitments. And, a lot of that stuff comes with clutter and stuff. I'm on the verge of retirement. So we're thinking about, it's not really congratulations. I love my job. I'm just getting too old.
Okay.
Okay. But so we're looking at a December date for my last teaching responsibilities and things like that. And so I'm going to be bringing more clutter into my house because I have a campus office, right? And so I'm thinking along those lines. And the biggest things that I wanted to ask you about were actually one of them I solved already. I solved it already, and it was you that helped me solve it.
Well,
because
good.
I have this room that has always been kind of the dumping ground room. It's supposed to be my office, and I made a nice office during lockdown, and I used it and all that kind of stuff. But gradually, like, my grandkids come to visit, they're babies, toddlers, and so I had to put 2 toddler beds in here for when they come visit, because it's the only spare room we have that's near where their parents sleep when they come. And then I inherited, my sister passed away, and she lived in the house that my parents and grandparents had lived in. And I inherited, I don't even want to count, hundreds and thousands of photos and scrapbooks and, all kinds of things like that are packed here. And I went through them and I laid them along the wall, and, they're fine. And I was thinking, well, I just have to give up in this room because Dana says a room can only have one function. And this room is like now, serving so many functions. But then you did that podcast where you talked about, like, you can actually put something in a drawer in a room that's labeled spare bedroom, as long as it still functions as a spare bedroom. And it really changed my mindset because I thought, well, as long as it's still functioning as an office, then the fact that the kids' stuff is in here, and they only come like once every 2 months and spend the night. I mean, but when they come, or the weekend, when they come, they need a place to sleep. And I just, that just like completely, that one phrase of, as long as it continues to function as an office, you can still put other things in there. And there's other things I want to get out, but it's still functioning as my office, and I feel so much better.
Right. It's as long as it doesn't keep it from functioning as an office. That's the issue, right? So that's great. I love it. So tell me about some other things that are working well for you.
Well, I did a complete house declutter beginning in lockdown and then continuing into 2021 after becoming familiar with your methods. And they work really well for me. And I was really happy. And my husband was really happy. So we have continued, like, I think our kitchen is, works really well now. And in fact, not only do I don't really enjoy cooking there because I don't really enjoy cooking, but he has actually taken over like some of the cooking because he feels better about moving around in there
That's
and clear
wonderful.
counters and stuff. That's working really well. Our bedrooms, really our public rooms are really doing well. And I feel like they're at the clutter threshold because it really, we have an upstairs with another spare bedroom up there. So all of the public rooms, I feel good walking into my house. Everything is clean and neat and has a place and all that kind of stuff. However, over the last, I don't know, I feel like I lost it in at Christmas 2022, our first really big entertaining thing after lockdown is that the not public places, my office, the storerooms, the garage, our dining room table, because I have this project going all the time. I always have some project going on the dining room table, that's not quite my office isn't quite big enough to do it in, or something like that. So I feel like we're reaching that point where I have to start rethinking some of my habits and ideas. But like I said, I just love that the public rooms are just I just really feel good about that. And the 5-minute pickup has been a game changer for me. This idea of just doing that before bed or in the morning before I leave for work, because I'm a morning person. And then I just come home to this house that's great. And I'm also finding for the first time in like a 35-year marriage that my husband's clutter bothers me. Like I always had so much of my own, and he was always after me about my clutter. And I realized that my clutter was about 90% of the problem. But now, like, he has a 10% problem.
The 10% has become the 90% now.
At 10%, like I've just come in, he's retired, he's already retired, and I'll just come in and like he wasn't home and he opened the mail and left all the mail on the coffee table and on the couch where he was working and the torn up, envelopes and things like that, which is the stuff he used to get after me.
It's one of those that happened to remind yourself of like all the years of grace that he had.
I know. I mean, I don't really get annoyed, but I get a little annoyed, but I do tell him, it's like, I think like you're the person that is making most of the car now. And he just laughs, he admits it,
So you have in here that Take It There Now has been helpful for you.
It actually has been also very helpful, this idea of just not making piles of things. We have, 2 levels. It used to be that sometimes the stairs were impassable because we have like there's a landing on the staircase, and I would take things halfway down, or even throw things halfway down. To like take down later, or even like bring boxes up from the basement or something up from the basement, like only need 2 or 3 things out of it, and the box would sit there for 3 months, and things like that. So I mean, we don't actually have that issue anymore because, again, I've just adopted mostly that Take It There Now, although I get overwhelmed sometimes, and when particularly at the project deadline is coming up or something like that. And I just looked at my desk in the kitchen, which is where we pay bills from and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even know what's on there right now. I mean, it's like, it's getting to be kitchen desk Jenga.
Yeah. But you know what to do, right? Like,
I know what to do.
The deadline has passed, and then how to move on from there. So that's
right. Yeah.
Helps. So like, do you, especially with the split level, do you resist the Taking It There Now because of going up and down stairs, or have you seen the power of it enough to understand that it's worth it?
Both.
I know. Yeah. Right.
I know. Like, I'll just sit there and I'll think, oh, my granddaughter, we have a little playroom downstairs from, when the kids come over, and I have a 10-year-old granddaughter, and she likes to do art projects and things, and the craft stuff and everything is in the bottom level, and the TV's down there. It's kind of a family room. But when she gets home from school, nobody's in the family room. Like, she wants to come upstairs and be with us. And so, she'll just drag things upstairs kind of gradually. And, and then I'll, she leaves. And if I remember, or if we just hit it right when her parents come to pick her up, she comes after school at 3:30, and the parents get off work at 5. So I have her for an hour and a half. My husband and I have her for an hour and a half. And, if I remember and I hit her at the right point, I'm not in the bathroom or something when her parents get there, like we make her like gather up all her stuff and take it downstairs. But a lot of times I'll just look around and think, oh, it's all Brooklyn stuff. And then I'll think, I should take it there now. Or I should just, whatever. And then I think I don't have time. And then I do it, you know, and then I
it's
put it
done.
away. And then it's like 4 minutes, maybe maximum. I'm just guessing, to take her little papers and crayons. And I don't know, she likes to cut up things. There's like little shards of paper around. And,
I love it. That's
Yeah.
great. So what are some of the things that you want to talk about today?
Well, when I made the appointment, I kind of wanted to talk about the spare room and how I could make it function better. But I think I'm really, because of that podcast you did in between, I'm really feeling like if I know what to do to make it work. And we have had a lot of pile up. One of the things that I do is, well, it's a long story, but it involves bringing in a lot of stuff that gets sold at an auction to send Native American girls to space camp.
Very cool.
Just one of the things that I work with. And I just got back from a trip with some of my people, and I came back with a whole carload of stuff for the auction. And like it's sitting there waiting to be put away. And, I know how to do it, and I know that it's just going to get worse. So I better do it. So it's
where do you put it away? Like where is the place to put it away?
Well, the place to put it away is supposed to be, I don't know if I can show you this or not. The place where I put it away is supposed to be on these shelves here. Can you see those shelves? I don't know what you can see.
They're a little blurry, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I have the background blurred. That's why I should probably fix it. So I have 2 sets of shelves here in bins and things like that. And believe me, they are outgrowing their space. and it used to be a really wonderful, place to put it and things like that, because the auction is in May. And we raised around $26,000 last year.
Wow.
It was really good with all this stuff. It's collectibles. I only take collectibles that, have a value. And so people would send me things like in the middle of, in April for this May 4th event. And now they know I do it. And so it just starts coming in all year long. And so I have to begin to rethink like what space I have to dedicate. And we have a big house and we have empty storage areas, but I'm a little afraid that if I start putting it in like different storage areas, that I'll forget where it all is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell me, as you do the auction in April,
early May, first week in May.
You do it in May. At that point, is the shelf completely clear?
It's mostly clear. There are always, a few things that don't sell, or it also has paraphernalia that goes along with it. I don't know how to describe it, but there's things to display things on, and things like that. So there is like it has 10 shelves, and then the top of it usually also has boxes on top, and that's fine. I don't care if the boxes are there. Because
I mean, I'm just brainstorming right here. Okay. So, it's your house and you know how everything functions, but you did mention that there's a small room downstairs that your granddaughter uses.
It's actually, it's actually a closet off the side of my office. It's a big walk-in closet, and that's where her toys.
Oh, off of where you are right now?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's where all her toys and craft supplies and all that are kept.
Okay.
Okay. And so, and it's really done there. And I mean, it's just as I was thinking here, like, I completely emptied out the linen closet upstairs. Like, there's very little in there. My husband would probably have a fit. It's empty. It's not even really being used now. I just have a few cat supplies. That's all I have. We have 1 cat. I could, begin using that, and that would only be 2 places. But I have to like talk to my husband because he gets really.
Is there a place that could be complete and total? Like, as in, like, is there you said you have space, so I'm not sure how that all is configured, right. But like, is there a space where you're like, it is not here anymore? Because you did talk about this room and, it has been an issue with the multifunction and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So like, is there a closet, a space, whatever that we could be like, this is dedicated to that?
Mm-hmm. That's something to think about, and I would have to really start to think about it. And we do have an unfinished area in the basement, but on the other hand, those areas are subject to flooding, and it's not temperature controlled. And these are like collectibles, mostly astronaut autographs and things so like cool. Photographs. Yeah, I mean, this is just. I have a whole community of people involved in this space program that are behind this effort to get these girls to camp every year, and and so, yeah, I mean, and even some of them, like, they're, as they retire, they're downsizing and they'll send me their stuff. And
So
yeah.
do you feel like it's, do you end up with more stuff than you need, or is it always that some things don't sell? Or is it you like, are you able to cut it off is what I'm saying. Like, are you able to say,
Yeah.
this is the space that I have,
Hmm.
this is it. So
This
don't,
is, I
you know,
was just talking to some of my,
yeah.
some of the people that I work with on this, and even like the program itself. I mean, it's one of those things that we just started out with a group of 8 to 10 girls. And they go to this STEM academy. It's
Mhm,
a once a week thing after school, for the year, and then the girls that finish up get the trip to space camp.
mhm.
So, we used to send those girls and that would finish up, and sometimes it was only three that would really finish, and sometimes it was eight. And now it's double that size, and it's gotten bigger and more people are aware of it. And so I was just talking to people, like I said, I don't think this is scalable. Like, I think at some point we need to be like talking about, partnering with some nonprofit or, something. I mean, I'm really, really happy that it's been so successful. And, I keep thinking, well, maybe when I retire, like, this would be like what I would do, like 20 hours a week or something like that. But then I think we travel, we do this, we do that. And so I really am facing that. I don't know if you did that when you started to grow. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just a whole
Well,
lifestyle change. Yeah.
well, it is. I mean, like, just, there are limits, not just to our space. There are
Hmm.
limits to our time. There's limits to the possibilities. And you don't want to limit the program, but acknowledging your own limits and
Hmm.
saying, this is how much I can keep as of such and such point. Somebody else has to store it in her house too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is my limit, everybody.
Hmm.
This is how much space I have, and also this is how much time I have is to deal with
Right.
this amount of stuff. And then at some point, then we say, okay, now you send stuff to so and so, and they can take it over. One of the things that my husband and I have been talking a lot about lately, which is different, because I relate a lot to your whole like, but this is fun and this is fun and this, and I want to do this, and here's a really good cause and all this. Like we have been hosting a group of, ninth and 10th graders for 8 years now. Okay,
Hmm.
on Sunday nights. And like there are kids and we love it, but like our daughter's graduating, our youngest is graduating. And so we're like, okay, it's officially a phase of life changes now. So
Hmm.
do we keep doing this thing, or do we acknowledge that we're going to have other things coming into our life that we're going to want to make sure we have some flexibility and room for? And anyway, so the thing that we keep coming back to is I am so thankful for the past 8 years and the opportunity that we've had. And somebody else might need that same opportunity. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
so while we kind of need to give it up, but we could totally do it. Like we could totally keep doing it. I'm
Hmm.
also like, what if there are people out there who really maybe don't even know how much they would enjoy taking on this, and then they can
Hmm.
have that experience with their kids for the next 8 years or whatever. So it's like, and I guess I'm thinking, I'm like, of these people, the thing has grown and you've got people who help you out. There might be somebody who's like, I could do that,
Hmm.
and especially because you have a system, and it doesn't mean you not doing it if you don't want to, but it would also be a path
Hmm.
for you to have somebody to pass it on to eventually. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. And I'm not getting any younger on that too. So,
So
we
yeah, so
kind of
it's kind of
talked
like,
about, yeah.
this is my limit. Blame it on the space and say, this is my limit and I can handle what I've been doing, but we're growing and that's wonderful. I need someone else to be like, okay, at this point, when I'm full, or people have the option of sending it to either of you or whatever. I don't know. Does that make sense, or does that
I
not?
mean, it does. I mean, it really is. I've been sort of pondering this. You talk about like everything seems fun and things like that. I mean, my husband's this person. It's like if the neighbor came up to you and said, "Hey, I'm going to the dump tomorrow, to dump off some stuff. You want to come with me?" I'd go, "I've never been to the dump. What's it like? Let's go."
Exactly. Sounds
And
so fun.
yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, let's do that. So I'm
Yeah.
always, I
Yeah.
have that kind of that personality that jumps at opportunities. And
Yeah.
I'm really, very fond of these girls, honestly,
Of course.
and seeing them succeed and then seeing their families take the pride in them that they have they've earned this opportunity because they have to do the academy and everything. They've earned this opportunity and they're getting this opportunity and they're growing and it's really a very rewarding thing. But so I was just honestly at our last, it's not really a board meeting because it's like 4 of us that get together and chat on Zoom. We call them our board meetings,
Yeah, of course.
that, I was saying that, that basically what I was saying then was when I retire, don't think I can double my time here because, we have other things we want to do. So, and I was explaining some of the responsibilities and stuff. And it's just so great that we have such a lovely community behind us and, doing things for the girls and things like that. But it's really become like a second job. And that's not all, it's the only thing. Like I teach Sunday school, and have for the last 30 years.
Exactly.
And,
I mean, you followed me, you know how I add things, but I'm like, I can add this, but I can only add it if this is the limit of what I'm doing and I'm bringing someone else on to handle that. So it's like, you want this to keep going, but your time and your energy is a container and you're not willing.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. So, yeah. Well,
even if it means bringing, maybe the 4 of y'all, none of them could do it, but maybe there's somebody else who's watched what y'all have done and is ready to come on and, which then allows it to be something that will, continue anyway at some point. Yeah. I don't know if that was a great.
No, honestly, I mean, that's just sort of thinking. Yeah, I love that. The time is a container too, and energy is a container. And
it really is.
That whole container concept thing is really also has been very, very helpful. And
which it feels too like the improvement that you've made in your home, the decluttering that you've done. I feel like understanding and acknowledging limits and experiencing how nice it is to live within those limits then helps me be able to see how worth it is in the future to establish and stick to limits. You're like, I don't want this to take over my house. Where my old personality, well, I mean, it's still my same personality, but my old understanding of things was like, what? Of course I'll keep doing. I'll keep doing until I couldn't anymore because I had stuff everywhere and I couldn't handle it,
Yeah. Well, I do feel like I'm reaching my limit there. So that is a really good way to explain it to people. So that would just be really, really nice way of talking to people about the limits. So, yeah.
Well, and if people don't know that you're feeling that way, then they may not volunteer, until you say, I need someone to volunteer. I need someone else to do this. Then that.
Right. We need to bring some more people on board. So no, that's really nice.
I love it though. I love that you do that. It's wonderful. So tell me your next thing you wanted to talk about.
I think it's actually really kind of related. One of the things that I didn't have as much trouble as I thought I would in even getting rid of things. And, when I went through and did my first round of decluttering, and I remember that feeling of when I finished, my garage was the last thing that I did. And it was so beautiful and it was so nice and all that kind of stuff. And we got rid of a lot. I mean, I had a run to the donation center every Thursday for like a year and a half, it's just, we just put it, and did that. And I just really felt very good about that. And, most of the stuff I got rid of, like, I'd open up. I remember this is embarrassing, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I mean, say it anyways. One of my kids came home with, he was playing baseball and the whole team got, they used the same batting helmet. So everybody got lice.
Yes. We actually went through exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah. So, here I am like cleaning out things and I realized that I have this, and then of course my son got it. So then my other son got it, so that, we had the whole lice thing and they're now 27 and 31 and they were like 7 and 10 when this happened. So here I am cleaning out and I come across this basket of like lice cleaning out stuff for your hair. And of course, I'm going, oh, that's crazy that I still have that, and all the, they went to camps and all the sunscreen and, all that kind of stuff for their camps with their names and their name tags on it. I'm just throwing things out right and left or cleaning out things or recycling things. It was great. And it just felt so good. So there was a rush from decluttering. And what I'm doing now is reaching particularly as I'm reaching retirement. I think there are some jobs where it's not just your jobs, it's who you are. And like I've been Professor Lois for 40 some years, that's who I am. And so, I'm bringing home, like framed awards that I had in I mean, I never even cared about the awards or anything, but, so I got the framed awards and I got the books and I got the lecture notes, and that stuff is really a lot harder to go through. And I'm tempted, like I'm trying to get rid of it at the office, so I don't even bring it into the, like I'll just go through, so I don't even bring it into the house, so I don't have to worry about where to put it. But I'm really wondering or worrying about like what to keep, what means a lot. And you're talking about like your favorite special things and what space in my house I want to donate to the past, and that kind of stuff. And even like books, which I know I'll never read again, but I open it up and it's, given to me with a really nice dedication from a professor of mine who passed away, something like that. And I didn't even remember I had it, but when I open it up, I'm going, oh, I love that. So that part of the first round, when I'm saying the first round was so easy and the second round is getting harder. And, I'm just wondering like, how to make decisions about what to keep. And also, like, I've never been old before, but I'm getting old. There's no, we always say there's no manual for, having babies or anything. There's actually no manual for that last part of your life. I mean, the last third of your life. And, there really is that temptation to just, put all the awards on the wall so everybody walks in and knows that I was once important.
Yes.
On the other hand, I don't want to look at that every day. So I'm trying to negotiate that and wondered if you had any advice.
I think, have you read Decluttering at the Speed of Life?
I have not. I feel like I have because I've been following you so long, but I never have. I never have sat down and read it or listened to it.
So I would recommend you read it. You can get it at the library or whatever. But
Yeah.
specifically the last chapter is about grief, but it's
Mm-hmm.
about not just like what we normally think of as grief, we lose a loved one, whatever, but also like the grief that happens as your identity changes, as you let go of who you were. I mean, it's real grief. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's actual grief to go, oh, that part of my life is over. Because what I experience so many times is I realize there are a lot of things that I'm like, oh, it's a phase. And I'm thinking, well, I might get into that phase again. But then I get to certain times right now, as my kids are all graduating and leaving and stuff. It's like, oh no, that phase of life is over. Like we're done. It's not coming back. It's whatever. And it's like kind of, a version of what you're experiencing right now is you just have kind of this panic of like, wait, I'm not ready to be done, or I am ready to be done, but I'm not ready to yeah. So I think acknowledging that is legitimate grief is important. Okay. And that it is a very challenging time. And then instead of saying, what parts of my house am I going to donate to the past? Think of it more as, okay, what is it? Because you're going to continue to be you.
Mm-hmm.
And so your new identity is that of a retired history professor. Okay. Which means that people may come to you with their questions about certain things, or, somebody might need encouragement, or, somebody who's starting out in a similar or parallel field or something is going to need your encouragement or need whatever. And so it's like, what is a space that I can devote to this closet, bookshelf, whatever, and say, this is the space that I have that I really can devote to it. And then what are the things that deserve the space in there? Not just because I'm not willing to let them go, but like, okay, this is something that will give me credibility. This is something that will, that I would hand to someone else, or, whatever, or that I would go back through and look at. I don't know. I mean, just not necessarily that we're going to go through everything and ask ourselves all those questions, but using that instinct of thinking of it as this is for the new version of me, the retired history professor.
Mm-hmm.
And so what deserves space in this bookshelf for this new version of my identity. I don't know. Would
Yeah.
that help at all?
Yeah, I mean, it does. And I honestly have, like, getting rid of books for people in my profession is like
Oh my
having
goodness.
a body
Yes.
part cut off.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. But I did go through, and again, this was during lockdown because we still had a lot of books at home, and we actually, and talk about if someone, like, I know I'm not going to read this book again. And if someone came to me and said, Lois, what do you recommend I read to learn about 15th century England? And it's like, well, I probably wouldn't recommend this 30-year-old book. I probably would have them read something more current. And I'm not going to read it, and I'm not going to recommend it. So unless it's like sentimental, like has an inscription or something in it, then I can get rid of it. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, and donating it to the undergraduates have a book sale every year and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So, that's what I'm doing with the books that I consider my tools. I will continue, even though I'm like retiring from teaching. I might even like be hired back to teach a class from now and then again.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're desperate.
Yeah.
And they call on retired people, and I know that I can do that if I wanted to. And the other thing is I like still have a book contract and a couple of article contracts. So for the next 3 or 4 years, I probably will be continuing to research and write and go to, do
Right.
that. So, yeah, so you're right. I mean, there are those things that I would use. There are other things that I won't use. But it really is kind of more a box of notes. I used to have I have a folder that's called Proof I Don't Suck. Um, and it's really like notes that you get at the end of the year from
Yeah.
students and things like that. Every once in a while, I'll come back from a meeting that's gone wrong or something and just open it up. Sometimes all I have to do is look at the name of the folder, and remember what's in there. And it's like, I don't really need those anymore. And probably those students wouldn't even remember me anymore, or, some of them. But
Do you not need it? Or is that if identity is the issue?
Uh-huh.
If you've acknowledged that it's my identity as a professor and like, oh my goodness, this is over,
Uh-huh.
that might not be a bad thing to
Yeah,
do,
to hold on to. But
Yeah,
I
to
mean,
hold
that's
on to.
just an example. I have lots
Yeah.
of things. And even
Right.
I'm doing it, and it's like the first 3 or 4 that I gave away were hard. And you've talked about building your decluttering muscles and things like that. But students give you mugs or little figurines, or sometimes it's even like, I teach European history, so a lot of times these kids 10 years later will go to a Paris or something and send me a postcard from Paris saying, I'm finally using the stuff you taught me, or something like that. And I could just kind of look at that and throw it away. I mean, I'm building that, but it's and you're right. I mean, it is a kind of grief journey, as you sort of think back and remember, and that kind of stuff. So,
Well, and inside your office,
uh-huh,
having a container
uh-huh,
that is like, this is it. You've got through December. If you
uh-huh.
have room to go ahead and have a container, so that as you run across things, you're like, this is special enough, I'm going to stick it in that container. Something
Okay, yeah.
about that, over
Mhm.
time you find something else and you realize, oh, that container is starting to get kind of full. You know what? I can take that out. So it's just that in and out, and that something about the container just identifies what's more important and what's less important. It's strange how it works,
Mhm.
that it's rarely about filling up the container all the way and then having to decide what comes out. It's usually just easier when you're like, should this go in the container? Nah, it doesn't.
Mhm.
Or yes, absolutely it does. But yeah, having that there over the next,
Mhm.
through
Mhm.
December.
Yeah. And then I also have, this is like crazy. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff, and it's like the awards, and like I you get one like, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, things like that. And I have them like all stacked up, and I'm thinking these should mean something to me. These don't actually mean anything to me. And I've tried to throw them away, and my husband brings them back in and says, you can throw those away.
Are they framed?
No, they're wooden plaques with the brass thing,
Oh yeah.
and they're screwed in, and, things like that. And it has, some kind of award, or some kind of, I mean, teacher of the year, graduate school director
Right.
of the year, all that kind of stuff. And I put him in, I thought, like, I don't really want to look at those the whole rest of my life. And he's going, well, the kids should know this about you. And I don't want to take pictures of them, but we're having like this, like somehow they're important to him as a part of my identity, or he thinks that I should value them more than I do, or that if I get rid of them now, I'll regret them like in 5 years. And so and that's just one example of a category.
So like, just a little practical thing, it's making me think about somebody, I think it was Connie Albers, I'd had her on, and she had talked about with her kids' trophies, she took off the little plaque and got rid of the trophy. And I'm like, well, that could be a job for him.
Yeah.
Is you give him a box and he can unscrew all the little metal plates off of the big piece of wood, and then
donate the wood, and then
I mean,
and then he can put the plaques in his office.
But you could have it could potentially get what is a huge tub down to a small container.
Most of them I never even hung up in my office at work. Like I would get them and I would have my picture taken with them, and they put it up on the Facebook page, and then I would like just put it in the box. And so I always feel guilty that they don't mean more to me than they do, which is really a weird, like, I have enough guilt for things I ought to be guilty about. Like, why am I feeling guilty that I don't feel guilty?
No, I get it. It's like, oh, I think this is supposed to mean something. And how many times do we hold on to something because it's like, I think I'm supposed to feel something about this, so I should keep it. When in reality, it's like, wait, if I don't care, then I have to let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just thinking that I could probably, the memory of the ceremony and the student that was with me when I got the award and all that kind of stuff. And I probably have pictures of the actual moment they were awarded somewhere. That would mean way more to me to put those in an album somewhere or something like that than to have the wood and brass.
Well, yeah. And it could be have an album that says awards on the outside, and then as thick as that album is, that makes you look cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something.
Since that's what your husband wants, is he wants everybody to understand, which is lovely.
I mean, it's really nice. I mean, I like it that he is, he's always been a real supporter of the work I do and things like that.
But really, though, I mean, that could be like, you have something that says, so it's clear you've received a lot of awards.
Mom's awards, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that actually that could be a retirement project that I would kind of enjoy, of actually digging out those pictures from somewhere. And like I said, I know that I have them, and probably on phones or thumb drives that are in. I have all my thumb drives in one place. I know where to find them, but they're not labeled, and there are a lot of them. The discs from the old digital cameras.
Yes.
Those little, and I have disc reader that'll fit in my computer. So I mean, it's like I can do this when I have time, but
was there something else you wanted to talk about?
No, I actually think we've covered most of the
I've solved all your problems.
And you've solved all my problems. You even solved one before I got here, I was feeling so discouraged about this room because I put a lot of work into it, to make it function as an office and everything. And then when it had to be a bedroom and everything else, I was just like kind of pouty because, it's like, I want my office and I don't want it to be a bedroom. And now I'm actually reframing it. So it's my office, and sometimes the kids sleep here.
Exactly.
It's not a toddler bedroom. It's an office that sometimes the kids sleep in.
Right. They sleep in your office. So that's fun for them,
Yeah. So,
I love it.
Yeah. I really appreciate the work that you do, Dana. I mean, it's really, I'm sure you hear this from everybody, but I've listened to, YouTubers and all that kind of stuff before. And when I stumbled on you, I thought, she gets me.
When you talk about identity and you talk about your thinking all the different things are fun and all that, I'm like, yes, that's exactly me. Like it all sounds fun.
Yeah. It does, and it usually is too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a great time, and I just come home and I go, why did I do that? Because like there's 7 loads of laundry. How did that happen? Or whatever.
That's what I say. Is I'm like, the world needs people like us who are like, sure, I can do that, and it never crosses our mind that will mean we won't have time to do laundry.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who won't do the other stuff because they're like, well, no, I've got all these things that I've got to do. And I'm like, oh, I never even thought about it, that I needed to do that stuff.
Yeah, those things always somehow get done.
They do.
And in my life now, I have no excuse really, because my kids are gone. And I heard you talking about that, that empty nester feeling. And I remember that feeling, as so it came time for my first one to leave, thinking like he'll come back and everything, I mean, he's going to visit and all that, but this is never going to be our house. And it's never going to be, the four of us all living here as this being our house. And yeah, that was hard. And it is a hard time. And I don't think that we anticipate that or, talk about it as much as we ought to. It's
Yeah.
as big a transition as when you bring that first little one home and think, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah. I just
Uh-huh.
look around and I think, I mean, I won't get into it because it'll make me emotional, but my last one leaves. She goes to college,
Okay.
and so she'll leave in August, and it's just like, that's gonna be so weird.
Yeah, I know. And it's even when your first one goes, it's kind of an adventure, but when your last one leaves, it's it really kicks in that, yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, if you're really lucky, Dana, grandparenting is the most fun I have ever had in my life.
I
Really,
hope
if
to
you're
get to enjoy
really
that.
lucky, and mine live close enough, and
Yeah.
I have never had the experience of, as soon as I get to their house and ring the doorbell, I hear these little people yelling, oh, I mean, they can't get enough of me. I just love it. And
That's a fun identity, right?
yeah, it's great. I said, I mean, I have fun all the time, but it's the most sustained fun I've ever had.
I
And
love it.
it's really cool to see your kids move into that space. And it's really cool when they ask your advice, you
We
know.
we have had some we have had several moments where we're like, oh, they care. Okay, we
They
gotta
like
make it
us.
good.
Yeah, they like us again.
They
Yeah.
want to hear what we have to say. Okay, let's make sure it's good.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And what's really also kind of fun and awesome is that as the boys, I mean, the kids were growing up, mom was always kind of the primary parent and they always came to me first, with things, mom, can I do this? Mom, can I do that? And everything. And now a lot of times they'll pick up the phone and they'll say, dad's not answering his phone. Can I talk to him? And it's really
Oh,
about, how to hang a shelf in the kitchen
right.
or, how to invest their bonus that they weren't expecting or something like
That's
that.
so
So,
great. Yeah,
all the relationships are still there, but they're really shifting in interesting and fun ways.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So I wish that for you too, because,
Yes,
having a great
abs
time with that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do enjoy a lot about this phase and about
Uh-huh.
when we are all together, which is rare. It is so fun.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Well, tell me what you love about being a kindred spirit.
Well, I love being a kindred spirit. And I really love this idea. I mean, this is very selfish, but I love the idea that, just this little $10 or whatever it is I give a month, I don't even know what it is, helps you to keep helping people the way you helped me. I
Thank
love
you.
that. And I don't really have the time to like devote to the Facebook group or
Yeah.
anything like that. And I've only caught maybe one or two of the lives, but I
Mhm.
just love that I'm part of the effort of what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. It means a
Oh, thank
lot
you. Yeah.
as a way to continue and pay it forward and all that.
Hmm. Yeah. It really it feels like a pay it forward kind of thing to me.
Well,
Yeah.
good. Well,
Yeah. Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
again. And is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I honestly think that we
Okay.
already covered everything that I was nervous about. And I do really feel better about that transition that's coming up. So, you've given me new ways to sort of think about retiring. And here's the deal. I had always thought I would work till I was 70. And I didn't say this, but my husband's been diagnosed with a degenerative vision condition. And so he really, really wants to travel and do things while he still can. So
Mhm.
I'm retiring about 3 or 4 years before I thought I would retire. And I wasn't really ready to do it. And it was I mean, it wasn't a hard decision to come to. I knew I had to do it, but it's been a hard time accepting it. And it has been a bit of a grief reaction. And,
Yeah.
I mean, my husband is old enough that the degenerative vision condition, his doctor tells him, well, if you live to be 103, you'll probably be blind, you know, but
That's an interesting way to say it. Yeah.
but I mean, he's kind of reaching the point like within the next 3 to 5 years, we anticipate he'll have to give up driving and things
Okay.
like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so he wanted to travel and he wanted to do this and he wanted to do that, and I thought, I can do that for you. So,
Oh,
yeah, so
absolutely. This was so much fun. I so enjoyed talking to
I
you.
like talking to you too.
And
I always like the lives whenever I can catch them, but
yeah,
yeah.
Didn't y'all just love that? Isn't she so So fun. So here is the email that I got from Lois the day after we recorded. She said, Dana, I wanted to thank you for the session yesterday. You got me thinking outside the box. Case in point, I got an email from a collector yesterday who is downsizing. And among the items he wanted to donate was a largish scale model of a spacecraft signed by 3 Apollo era astronauts, 2 of whom are deceased. I knew from experience that similar items have sold in the last 3 years for between $1,500 to $2,000. But I also know from experience, I'd want him to have the item professionally packed, shipped, and insured at our expense. And then I'd have to pay to have it shipped to the winner after our May 4th event. May the 4th be with you. Get it? It would probably cost around a total of $250. But with a high value item like that in the past, I would have said sure and then found a place to store it. Think about a container the size of a small U-Haul box. Multiply that by 20 and you see why my house started looking like an Amazon warehouse every spring. Instead, I explained my storage issues to him and asked whether he could send me good quality photos and hold on to it until May and then send it at our expense directly to the buyer. He was happy to do so. I never would have thought of that without our conversation yesterday. Thanks again, Lois. Well, that makes me happy. Y'all know that, right? That makes me so happy to hear. So anyway, so many times it's just thinking of a situation differently and going, oh yeah, that would change how this goes in my house. And I hope that hearing these conversations helps you think about your own situations differently so that you can apply the things that you're learning here in your own home, in your own unique situations. Okay. Just a quick reminder again, if you want to know more about being a patron of the show and joining our Kindred Spirits group, go to patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean. That's patreon.com/A Slob Comes Clean. All right. I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.